Bum bum. Thinking out loud.
Hi everyone! Today we are focusing on addiction from a psychological perspective, including what addiction is, how it develops, and how it is treated.
Addiction is generally defined as a chronic disorder characterized by compulsive engagement in a behavior or use of a substance despite negative consequences. It affects both the brain and behavior.
Addiction is not limited to drugs or alcohol. It can involve behaviors such as gambling, gaming, or even social media use.
What makes something an addiction is the loss of control. A person continues the behavior even when it harms their health, relationships, or daily functioning.
Another key feature is the craving. Individuals with addiction often experience strong urges to use substance or engage in a behavior.
Tolerance and withdrawal are also important concepts. Tolerance means needing more of a substance to achieve the same effect. Withdrawal refers to the physical or psychological symptoms that occur when the substance is reduced or stopped.
Addiction has a strong biological basis. It involves changes in the brain's reward system, especially pathways linked to dopamine.
Dopamine is a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. When someone uses a drug or engages in a rewarding behavior, dopamine is released, reinforcing that behavior.
Over time, repeated exposure can change how the brain responds. Natural rewards become less satisfying, and the addictive substance or behavior becomes the primary source of pleasure.
This helps explain why addiction is so difficult to overcome. It is not simply a lack of willpower. The brain itself has adapted to prioritize the addictive behavior.
Psychological factors also play a major role. Stress, trauma, anxiety, and depression are all linked to higher risk of addiction.
Many people use substances as a way to cope with negative emotions. This is sometimes called self-medication.
Learning also plays a role. Through conditioning, certain environments or cues can become associated with substance use.
For example, if someone regularly drinks alcohol in a particular setting, the setting alone may trigger cravings later on.
Social influences are another important factor. Peer pressure, family behavior, and cultural norms can all affect the likelihood of developing an addiction.
If substance use is common or accepted in someone's environment, they may be more likely to engage in it.
Another factor is how early you are exposed to substances. So people who have begun using substances at a younger age are at higher risk of developing addiction later in life.
Access and availability matters as well. The easier it is to obtain a substance, the higher the likelihood of repeated use.
There are different types of addiction. Substance addictions include drugs, alcohol, nicotine, and opioids.
Behavioral addictions include gambling, gaming, and internet use. These do not involve substances, but they still activate similar reward pathways in the brain.
Although the causes may vary, both types share similar patterns of compulsive behavior and difficulty stopping.
Addiction is treatable, but recovery is often a long-term process. There is no single solution that works for everyone.
Psychological therapies are a key part of treatment. Cognitive behavioral therapy helps individuals recognize and change harmful thought patterns and behaviors.
Motivational interviewing is another approach. It helps individuals find their own reasons for change and strengthens their commitment to recovery.
Medication can also be used in some cases. For example, certain medications can reduce cravings or ease withdrawal symptoms.
Support systems are extremely important. Family, friends, and support groups can provide encouragement and accountability.
Relapse is a common part of recovery. It does not mean failure, but it does highlight how challenging addiction can be.
Triggers such as stress, social situations, or environmental cues can lead to relapse if not managed effectively.
Long-term recovery often involves learning coping strategies, building healthier habits, and avoiding high-risk situations.
Prevention focuses on reducing risk factors and strengthening protective factors.
Education, strong family relationships, mental health support, and access to resources can all reduce the likelihood of an addiction.
Early intervention is especially important. Identifying and addressing problems early can prevent more serious issues later.
In summary, addiction is a complex condition influenced by biological factors and social factors.
It involves changes in the brain patterns of behavior and environmental influences.
When you understand addiction, it helps reduce stigma and supports the people struggling from it in order to improve treatment.
And it reminds us that recovery is possible with the right support and interventions.
Thank you for listening.